that you talk about the 7 rules of becoming a black belt, which kind of what culminated over the 20 plus years of your experience. One thing that caught my eye was number 6. Must be in a constant state of ongoing learning outside of jiu-jitsu. That was on page 3, I think it was. And then you brought up another point later on about keeping an open mind again. It was a slightly different context, but it was that if you're wrong, you got to admit you're wrong.
Yeah.
And be willing to change.
Yeah.
And I write notes and everything like there. So one of the things that struck my mind was that avoid dogma.
Right.
Do you find that a lot in jiu-jitsu?
Of course. I think that exists everywhere.
Yeah.
It's natural. Everyone has it. Most people don't know that they have it because we're usually so convinced that we're right. And because it feels good to be right. And one of my favorite quotes is, the thing about being wrong is it feels exactly the same as being right. Right? It's like, because if you don't know you're wrong, you think you're wrong. So it's hard to challenge because you can't actually live your life always questioning everything 24/7, or you wouldn't do anything. You're like, well, what if we're in a simulation? And what is it? You go crazy. So you have to be like, all right, this is what I believe. I'm moving through my life with this belief. But if someone challenges it, I'll listen and I'll stack that up against what I believe and what are the reasons for both of these. And then I'll, hopefully change a little bit to be a little closer to the actual truth. Right. And that's really all you can do is try to approximate something more true over time. But the jiu-jitsu example is, I'm old school, I do it this way. It's like, why? What if there's a better way to do that joke? Mm-hmm. Why would you not do it the better way? And they say, well, it might work for him, but I do it, this way. And, Roger Gracie is a great example. People think his jiu-jitsu is basic because he pressure passes you, mounts you, and does the X choke. He's doing 1,000 things that you don't see. An inexperienced person will look at that and say, like, that's the choke I learned on day 1. I learned the X choke from the mount, but I can't do it. I get rolled over, or I don't have the right squeeze. It must be because he's just big and strong, right? Or it must work for him. And it's like, no, you're probably doing it incorrectly. If you're getting rolled, there's something wrong with your mount. If you're not getting the choke, there's something wrong with your position and your pressure. So you can do this with, almost anything. So like for jiu-jitsu to say like, I'm just going to keep doing it this way. It's like, well, then you're done learning. So you should quit. Mm-hmm. Because you're saying that you learned it the most perfect way possible from another human being 15 years ago. And they were perfect back then, and nothing has changed, and you've got the perfect. It's insane. Like, we wouldn't do that with, I guess you can do that with anything, but
you wouldn't do that with technology.
No, you want to drive a safer car, right? And so you get that one. You're like, I like the old school engine. It's like, yeah, but you probably feel safer with the cab driver in the safest rated car, right? So you don't want him pulling up in the truck that you had when you were 16, right? It's like, so it only makes sense that there's more knowledge and technology. We have the advantage of everyone who came before us handing things down. It doesn't mean they got it right. It doesn't mean that our new version is the best way, but you should always be open to kind of challenging whatever you believe.